Sometimes we remote view things that turn out so strange, you just can't find the words to explain what just happened. And the only thing you can really do is draw these scant three-dimensional parallels because words and language just don't cut it. Now, it makes me wonder sometimes if you could use equations and they would work better. I don't know. But that's kind of what it was like on this particular one, Ezekiel's Wheel. Now, I know some people, as I've seen in the past, get incensed about anything biblical, whether it's some sacrilege to view it or, on the other side, anything out of that realm is BS. For me, though, it comes down to research, and I think of Eric von Daniken and the ancient aliens theory applied to this story, if it even happened. Ezekiel's Wheel comes from the book of Ezekiel in the Old Testament. In a vision, Ezekiel saw a massive cloud that contained fire, emitted lightning, as well as a brilliant light emanating from within it. Within the light and fire, which looked like glowing metal to him, he saw four winged humanoid beings. Also described were four shiny objects, a wheel within a wheel. And these are what the humanoids flew around in. Ezekiel went on to receive messages from various forms of this conglomeration, and the messages dealt with, well, the future of the world, and that's why he was considered a prophet. Now, von Daniken, in his book, Chariots of the Gods, theorizes that what Ezekiel saw was a UFO. A NASA engineer, Joseph Blumrich, tried to disprove von Daniken's theory, couldn't, then jumped on board with it. In his book, The Spaceships of Ezekiel, he even detailed out how these nuts and bolts craft would work. So he became convinced that this was an extraterrestrial encounter. Now, what did we see when we looked at the reality of what Ezekiel claims to have experienced? We want to know if, one, he saw or experienced something, anything, and two, what was it? What we saw was the formation of a very rich black opening, like endless space in front of and above Ezekiel, like infinity. But this opening is bounded by a torus shape or a circle like Ezekiel described. Not just a circle, but also these like moving geometric shapes that weren't solid. And there's this kind of gravitational pull to the interior of this formation. Now, once inside, there's this funnel shape that goes away from you. It's like a wormhole. And it's described as being this distortion of time and space in front of him. It's like looking at an event horizon. Now, down the tunnel is a very bright golden light as we viewers kind of watch from the foyer of this thing. Inside it, this shape, it's swirling with energies, beings, and information constructs. The viewers were perceiving and feeling as though they were being watched by those within it. There were these faces and these forms that would float up and then spiral down the tunnel. When you move down this tunnel, there's this sense of becoming very small and everything else becomes very large, just like this dimensional transition zone. When you go down even further, deeper, it sort of turns into this weird event horizon where consciousness takes on the sensation of becoming fragmented and pulled apart. And it's like you're in this hall of mirrors where you're looking at yourself everywhere. It's like it's all just mind, which is everything, and then it's also nothing. And then there's this feeling like, okay, you know the movie Space 2001, where at the end, the astronaut is now an old man, and he's laying in the bed and the monolith shows up. And when he reaches out to touch it, he transcends his own human nature and into another stage of evolution of consciousness, beyond the physical. And nothing in the physical realm can describe it. That's kind of like what this was like. We've seen this thing before, though, when we've viewed some light form phenomena that some have captured on film, like Peter Maxwell Slattery's footage, and even stuff that I've seen on Mount Adams in Washington State. These types or same types of wormhole opening up to higher dimension phenomena show up, and they're filled with beings that are non-physical. They're like full of information constructs just swirling and spinning, but they ultimately lead to another realm, which ultimately leads back to you and pure mind, which is everything. We've seen that the Merkaba shape is the container for this within our 3D perceptions. That's why we see the constantly changing geometric shapes on the outside edge of this circle, or Wheel of Ezekiel. It's like a higher dimensional light vehicle. So, what happened to Ezekiel? Yeah, that. It was like he was pulled into this manifestation of Source, or a higher dimension, and all the swirling beings, golden light, as well as information constructs, well, that provided his prophecy. So don't forget to subscribe, then check your notifications for new videos. The next video we're going to do is going to be part 2 of Antarctica.